Hey guys, it's aribiterspar and welcome to my Slayer guide for Kalphites. On your screen right now you can see some information about the Kalphites. The amount in which they are assigned by Kuradal is 170 to 249, Duradel 130 to 199, and Simona 120 to 185. The life points they have is the worker has 400, the soldier has 900, the guardian has 1700. The worker gives 40 Slayer experience per kill, the soldier gives 90, the guardian gives 170. The location that we're going to be using is killing them in the Kalphite hive. The requirements to use the recommended spot is the quest Do No Evil. However, there is a spot that you do not need the completion of the Do No Evil quest to use. However, using the Do No Evil quest spot increases the experience per hour by about 2 times, so it is really recommended to actually have this quest done to do these tasks. Simona the Slayer Master can also offer the Kalphite Queen as a special task. However, it is better to just do the Kalphites in the Do No Evil quest spot or the other spot instead of killing the Kalphite Queen. Alright guys, so as usual, we're going to start with the best setup that stuff you should be wearing. So, Berserker Ring, Dragon Boots, best gloves you can wear, of course your best melee setup like Bandos, Dragon Defenders preferable, along with the Chaotic Rapier, and yes, the Rapier is better than Karis. Fire Cape, Fury, and a full Slayer helmet, charged with your best combat familiar special attack scrolls. A good alternative for a Slayer helmet, if you cannot have one for some reason, is a black mask. You could always buy it charged. Also, if you don't have the money, Proselyte with a Glory or Proselyte with a Fury also works as interchangeable if you're a little bit more worried about money and prayer points, as well as the Fire Cape being interchangeable with Soul Wars Cape. However, of course, if you're using the better prayer setup, the task and Slayer experience per hour will be a little bit slower. So if you can afford to, I would recommend sticking with the Bandos. Alright guys, now we're going to get to the inventory setup. It's pretty basic. You're going to need your cannon parts as well as some cannonballs, 2 overloads, 2 super anti-poisons. The overloads and the super anti-poisons both 4s. Anti-poison plus are a viable alternative to super anti-poisons, but I just have a whole bunch of super anti-poisons in my bank, so I use them. The anti-poison pluses do last longer, but cost just a bit more. However, they last twice as long, so in the end it does cost a bit less. So if you are worried about money, I'd recommend using the anti-poison plus. But since I have these in my bank, I'm just going to use them for this task. I like to bring along about 12 prayer potion 4s as well. Easily finishes out the task. Spec weapon, Dragon Claws of course is the best for this Kalphites task. If you want to save a little bit of money, Holy Wretch. The Ring of Slaying for the kill count that you have left, because most people like to know, as well as being able to tell you to the fairy ring code, which I'll talk about in a second. Amulet of Glory for a teleport out of there, and then, like I mentioned before, the best combat familiar you have, special scrolls. Alright guys, now to talk about getting to the Kalphites. The fastest way of getting to the Kalphites from the normal person's bank, like Edge or somewhere else, is going to be using a Ring of Slaying to teleport to the Reluctant Slayer Caves. So rub it, and go there. Now, if you haven't done the quest Fairy Tale Part 3, you are going to need a Drayman Staff to use the fairy rings. If you've done it, then you don't. So if you do need to use it, equip it, and go through the first fairy ring. After we're through to the other side, we're going to use the fairy ring code BIQ. If you've already used it, it'll be in your travel log. You can click it and hit travel to location. Then it'll teleport you right out to the desert. So first and foremost, getting to the Kalphite area, if you've done the quest Do No Evil and you're going into the spot that's down there, which I will show you how to get to in a minute, you're going to want to run just south and a little bit west of the fairy ring. And if you've used the back entrance, which I'll also show you right now, you have the ability to climb down the rock slide. So basically, after you come through the Kalphite layer past the Kalphite Queen the first time, you're going to enter this room from that hole up there. And first thing you're going to want to do is climb up through the hole over here to unlock it. And once you've climbed through this hole that's up over here to unlock it, you can later come back down through this rock side immediately from the fairy ring, saving you a long journey. So, yeah, that's the quickest way to get down here. Alright guys, now I'm going to show you how you have to get down there if you're going down there for the first time after doing the Do No Evil quest, as well as the other best place to kill Kalphites if you haven't done the quest, as well as the best way and best places to kill them in each of the 2 spots. So to get going, you need to go bit northwest, and you're going to hit the Kalphite Cave. Then just click down through the tunnels and keep on running. Now, there is another place to kill Kalphites, but is not nearly as good, just barely half as good as if you haven't done the quest, Do No Evil. I will show you that as we're on our way, because if you haven't done the quest, there is one decent place where you can still get 37k Slayer experience per hour. However, because Kalphites are going to be crap effigies and crap summoning experience, like I said before, if you haven't done the quest Do No Evil, it is not worth it to do this task. But for whatever reason you do have to do this task, I will show you the other best option. Also note, if you're a freak about run energy, you could have bring an energy pot if you're worried about running out. Alright, now the best cannon spot in this room to kill Kalphites is going to this stalagmite and going 1, 2, total of 3 squares east, and 1, 2 squares south. Then setting up your cannon, and that is the best part of the room. You're also going to want to stand about 1 square northeast of where your cannon base is, because that will draw the Kalphites in more circular into the room, and you'll be able to get off the best amount of shots at them. Alright, so now we'll continue on this journey, and I'll show you guys where the best place to actually kill Kalphites is. So we continue down along this tunnel, and finally we will reach this area. Make sure you have about 20%, just over 25% run energy before we go down the tunnel entrance. I usually like to pray mage right about here, just because of the Kalphite queen. And I'm wearing bandos, which is more susceptible to mage than range. You drink 1 dose of your super anti-poison, climb through this hole in the northwest part of the room, and now we're in the main Kalphite area where we're going to be killing them. Turn on, of course, if you're going to be using curses and soul split and piety, you're going to want to put on soul split and piety. Now I haven't been able to find an actual best place to put your cannon other than just the general middle of the room, right about here. You're going to want to drop your cannon there. I've tested about 5 different cannon spots in this room, and it's pretty much the same as long as you drop it generally in the middle. Haven't been able to find one spot that's significantly better than the others. So, get your health up, start firing your cannon, drink a sip of your overload. You had already drinking a little drink of your super anti-poison, and then start killing them. Of course, as usual, my advice would be to use your spec weapon right after your soul splitting and drinking a drink of your overload, this way to get your HP back up a bit faster. You do not need any protect prayers while you're here. I normally soul split my health all the way back up, or at least close to it, and then I turn my soul split off and just sit here with turmoil on. You also don't need to have turmoil or piety on, but it is recommended for a bit faster tasks, as you're almost always going to be attacking a lot of the time. Kalphites don't have a lot of awesome drops, however they do drop a decent amount of green charms, which are charms that I do pick up. And because there are a little bit slower spawn times, especially at a certain time of night, but basically just in this area in general, you can wait until most of the Kalphites are dead to pick up the charms. This way you spend more time attacking while they're actually here than just picking up the charms instead of attacking, letting your cannon do all the work. With max gear, a Steel Titan, overloads, and turmoil, you can max out at about just over 64k Slayer experience per hour here, which is another awesome rate. Kalphites do drop effigies, but I wouldn't count on getting them very often. Also, when you have a lot of the Kalphites attacking you, you're going to want to try and stand under your cannon base. This way your cannon gets the full rotation around the room, and when you lure a lot more of the Kalphites around, your cannon gets a chance to fire around at more of them instead of them all being lumped on one side. They're spread out all around so it can hit all of them. I hope you enjoyed this guide, and I hope it helped you a lot. If it did help you and you did enjoy it, feel free to shoot us a thumbs up or a favorite. That always helps a lot and it's very appreciated. Feel free to come check out my channel for more RuneScape guides and content.